there's a lot for me to talk about. I'll try to remember as much as I can, though, because this film is already leaving my brain. So I'll try to remember as much as I can, because this film was so boring. I can't even talk again. So I'll be reviewing Mortal Kombat that came out this year. I just want to watch this film again, which is going to be the next review, because I want to review this film and review the good one last. This is a classic. It was fun. It's still fun, entertaining. Characters, dialogue, fights, soundtrack, everything. Well, except for the CG, which I'll say in the review, but the CG doesn't hold up even for 1995. I'll give you that, though. And honestly, as much as it pains me to say, people can get mad at me for this. I'd rather watch this than this new one. As it pains me for me to say, I'd rather watch this than this new piece of garbage. At least, well, I mean, I like Robin Shaw. He's trying, though, but I think what his character was a step down from what he did in the first film. The soundtrack I like. That's one thing I can say about this one. It has a good soundtrack. And other characters, Jax, because I like he had his story arc when he ditched the metal arms. He was like, I don't need the metal arms anymore. At least he had a bit of an arc right there. But Mortal Kombat Annihilation is still a god awful piece of trash. It still is. It's still cringe-inducing to watch. But honestly, yes, if I had to pick, I would pick that over this new one. I would. But Mortal Kombat, Scorpion's Revenge, that's a great one. Definitely I'd rather watch than this new one. The 95 film and Scorpion's Revenge are the only good ones. Now, like I said, try to remember as much as I can. This new one. This guy, this director, he is a first-time director. It shows. It shows that he is first time. Who's this guy? Simon McQuoid. You hear that I was burping right there. I just feel like I want to burp on this movie. The main focus, one of the main problems, Mortal Kombat. Like, I didn't grow up. I didn't play much of the game. I didn't. Me and my brother, we played a game that we both love. It's similar to Mortal Kombat, the same style of Mortal Kombat. It was a Sega Saturn game called Battle Monsters. It's like a Mortal Kombat game. Me and my brother loved playing that game. I played very little Mortal Kombat, though, but I do know of the characters. Most of them. But the 95 film, classic, it was so much fun. Yes, even the Annihilation is still a piece of garbage. Scorpion's Revenge, great. This film, yeah, okay, it's R-rated. They made it R-rated. They added the blood and the gore in that, just like for the games. But even though people bitched about the 95 film, it's not gory or R-rated. But thing is, though, I let that slide because I had fun with the movie. People complain about the character of Raiden, who Christopher Lambert being cast as Raiden. People complain about that. Christopher Lambert, he was fun. He was having fun in the role. He was relishing his fun in the role as Raiden. Far better than this guy who plays Raiden. The guy who plays Raiden in this, that's what he was. Not just here. Knock on wood, that's what he was. None of these characters in this movie had no energy or personality or charisma to them. They were all boring and bland characters. And the lead guy, whose name is Cole Young, here we go again, is a character they made for them. I never heard of this guy. It's clearly a character they made for the movie. Why were you following a new guy who just made it? Yeah, you could have followed Liu Kang again. Yeah, I know this for the first one though, but follow a different guy. Even if it's Liu Kang or Kung Lao. Not this bland, boring character who I hated this character. I never gave a damn about him. Because he was a descendant of Scorpion. Well, the guy who later becomes Scorpion. So what? The guy who plays Scorpion, Hiroyuki Sanada, I never minded him. Some of the films I've seen him in, he plays Scorpion. I was like, well, first, okay, guys, he's like to play Scorpion, okay. Now the thing is, though, what's false about this movie? People were so hyped about this movie. All the marketing, the promotion of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, the poster where it showed the sort of the face-off, like the poster of face-off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. The poster, in the marketing, the trailers, the advertising for Scorpion and Sub-Zero. For the two of them together, at the beginning, before they became the characters of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, you get that little fight in the beginning, and they fully appear to do it at the end. And let alone Scorpion, he was barely in the movie. The beginning, and you get the little flashes for characters having those flashes of the visions of him, and then at the end of the movie. So it's basically false advertising, They put so much into the marketing about these two characters together, but technically, they don't appear together as their names until the end of the movie. And the film, I've seen this. I think that there was a review that this guy said was who want to make the best fight scenes possible. What best fight scenes? The fight in the first Mortal Kombat movie between Johnny Cage and Scorpion was miles better than any fight in this movie. Or the fight between Liu Kang and Reptile. Oh, there's a reptile in this movie, but I don't think it's not a reptile. It's this big, gigantic that turns invisible, and then it's something that's a creature you see out of a sci-fi movie. You're supposed to assume it's a reptile, but I don't think it's not. And granted, this made it from a budget of $50 million. Yeah, it was a little bit twice as more than the first film. It was based on 18. Okay, decent size for this kind of movie. $50 million, okay. But the thing is, though, probably a lot of it went to the marketing. False marketing, I could say. But the reptile is, the fight between Liu Kang and Reptile in that first movie was miles better. Those are two of the best fights in the movie. The first movie of Mortal Kombat. The 95 film was miles better because we had a lot of charm and personality and charisma for all the characters, all the fun dialogue they had between each other. They were having fun with the role, great fight scenes and characters, great soundtrack, great theme. So much love was going for it. The opening, Hiroyuki Sanada as Hanzo before he becomes Scorpion. His wife and kid are killed by Ben something, I forget the name. It's Sub-Zero. I'm just calling him Sub-Zero. Although it's kind of funny though when he fights with Shang-Chi. I'm getting confused with the Marvel character Shang-Chi. Shang Tsung. Because he says, "Oh, I'm not that name anymore. I am Sub-Zero." I'm like, "Thank you very much. I really couldn't tell you were Sub-Zero." Yeah, he really says a line when he's talking to Shang Tsung. He's like, "I'm not that name anymore. My name is Sub-Zero." As if we didn't even already know that you were Sub-Zero. Oh, what gave you away that you were Sub-Zero? What, your ice powers? Gee, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know you were Sub-Zero, despite you having ice powers. Thanks for clarifying that. Thanks for stating that you're obviously what your name is. Like, we don't know who you are. As if we're that stupid to think we're in... that's Sub-Zero. Ooh, shh. But anyway, Hiroyuki Sanada, his family gets killed by Sub-Zero. Well, except for the baby, because they hit it. He fights some guards. Yeah, you do get some blood in there, because they want to make this an R-rated, just like the game, it's R-rated and bloody. They fight each other, and the guy, Hanzo, dies. And turns to action, but Raiden, the block of wood Raiden, takes the baby, and it's because that took place in like 1617, so now it's like 500 years, 600, I would say 600 years later. Because I'm thinking about Inuyasha from the time when Kagome, from her time when she went to the feudal era, which took place in the late 90s. By the time when she first went to the Bone Year as well, that was in the late 90s, 97? I was getting confused. 500 years in the past. That's like in the 1400s. So the opening took place in the 1600s, so it has to be... If it's in this day and age, I guess it would be. No, actually, no. I think it would be 500 years. Because it's big... Whatever. It doesn't matter, though. I'm saying, hey, Inuyasha would beat the shit out of any of these characters in this movie. He would beat the shit out of any one of those characters. It's not like even Moroku suck everyone up in his wind tunnel. Or says Shomaru, because he doesn't give a damn about anybody. You know, still a cold, emotionless guy as he is. He doesn't give a damn. He'll just like that, just like that, and just walks on like it never happened. So, anyway, yeah. But then, so, our guy named Cole, and he has the mark, he has the dragon symbol, the Mortal Kombat symbol, and Jax comes in, and it's a stupid line. You know, it's like, oh, what is that? It's a mark. What is it? And I guess it's his daughter who says it. Cole's daughter says, it's a birthmark. As if we didn't know what a birthmark freaking meant. And also, I find it hard to believe that you get a birthmark that happens to be in the exact of a picture of a dragon. Stupid line like that. Oh, it's a birthmark? Like, we didn't establish if it's a birthmark. Especially, yeah, it's kind of funny that you get a birthmark that happens to be in the exact image of a dragon. So, in which you feel that Jaxie has that mark too. Sub-Zero comes in. You know, they drive away. Jax tries to fight him off. The fights in this movie, I was not a fight. People think that they think the fights in this film were great. I disagree. The fights in this film did not impress me. I'm sorry. Even with the fight with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I was not impressed with it. I'm sorry. We agree to disagree. If you think these fights were good, good on you. But I was not impressed with them. In fact, the fights were crap. The fights, because first of all, a lot of the fights in this movie, you have a lot of quick editing, poorly edited. Everything was like a quick shot. Here, compared to this, hell, I'll even give it this, because even there was no quick shots in this movie, there were still more better choreographed fights in this, even in both movies, than in this. I mean, I understood the fights in these clearly. Probably that'll be another pause I would give to Annihilation, but still, it's still a garbage movie. At least the fights in those were still, like, I can give somewhat competent edited. It wasn't no quick edited. But what else? Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the fights. By the way, yeah. Then when you saw in the trailer, Jax gets his arm shattered, and he should have died. Funny how it is, he should have died because he falls from a good distance. He hits his head on this cement edge like this, and then bounces off and falls down some more. He should have been dead. He should have a crushed-in skull or a broken neck. And let alone his arms were taken off. He should have been dead, clearly. Because if he hit his head, we see a little bit of blood splatter, or his head had been turned to mush. I don't know, but I'm just probably thinking too much about that. What else? Then he drops his wife and kid off to hide, and then he goes to meet with Sonya Blade. Tells about the Mortal Kombat. Oh, and you get another funny, unfunny joke where, oh, Kombat, they spelled it wrong. It's with a K. Oh my god, this guy, he's so irritating to watch. I hated this character of Cole. Cole. Please, I'd rather go walk through a path of hot coals than to hear this guy again. Yeah, coal. Hot coals I'd rather walk across with. Rate me over the coals, please. Than to listen to this guy again. I'm sorry, I forget her on. And then she has Kano tied up. The guy who plays Kano, he's the only guy who had, like, energy and charisma. Or at least a personality. I mean, he was the only one guy I kind of liked, though, but at the same time, he kept on running his mouth and he wouldn't shut up. Even to a point where Sonya Blade said, "Can you shut up?" Which, yes, I would agree, too. Trevor Goddard, who played Kano, was much better, though. I like Trevor Goddard, but because I like the design, the way that the plate on his face was with the glowing red eye. I liked Trevor Goddard. I liked, you know. May he rest in peace. But then this reptile comes, this invisible reptile comes in. Whether you think it's reptile or not, it's not. If it's not reptile, then that's just they did a bad job with reptile. The fight with Reptile in the 1995 film with Liu Kang was miles better. It was fun to watch, and especially that was a scene that they shot additionally to fight with Reptile in his human form, which was a smart move because it ended up having a great fight. Kano rips his heart out, and then he says, "Kano wins," right? Because it's a dialogue from the game. Because remember, it's supposed to be a video game movie. You have to throw in the stuff like that in. But it just plays off as an out of the blue thing because he just said it because it referenced the game. That's what it is. Kano wins. Yeah, there's some decent gore effects in this movie. Yeah, he ripped the heart out. Okay. To find this temple, they meet with Liu Kang. Which, funny thing is, when they meet Liu Kang, Trevor Goddard approaches him. See, I mentioned Trevor Goddard because I like Kano. I liked him as Kano in the '95 film. My brain is literally telling me to watch the '95 film again, and I just did. So, I said Trevor Goddard by accident. I'm sorry, but it's making me think of the good Mortal Kombat movie. That's what it did to me. It made me mention an actor for that better in the better movie. Slip of the tongue, you know. I was in Kano. He approaches Liu Kang. Liu Kang immediately shoots fire at him, and he said, "I am not your enemy." Which is kind of funny though. Why would you say that if you just went and shoot fire at me? I would look at you as an enemy if I just approached you, and also for no reason you go and shoot fire at me. Does that make me not want to trust you? But anyway, they get to the temple. They meet with Raiden, who I'm sorry he had no personality at all. He had barely no emotion, and I barely understood what he was saying half the time. Unlike Christopher Lambert, I'm sorry, Christopher Lambert, people bitched about him being cast as Raiden. Probably still people today though, but Christopher Lambert, first of all, he's a good actor from Highlander, you know, and from Fortress and a couple other movies too. But he was fun as Raiden. You could tell he was having fun as Raiden. The lines of dialogue he says was fun, you know, and he cared about our lead characters, you know. We was talking about them what they fear the most, you know. Liu Kang, you fear your own destiny. Johnny Cage, you fear that you'll end up being a fraud. Sonya Blade, you fear that you're afraid to have someone help you when you needed it. He cared about those our heroes. And funny lines, I don't think so. Or when Johnny Cage punched Chris Gore in the nuts, he's going, yes! He had energy to him. He was fun in the role. Here, this guy here, I think he was in the Marvel Universe from the Thor movies. He was the one who, he was one of the friends of Thor. I forget the guy's name. Or the character's name, I don't care. But he plays Raiden. He had no personality or charisma or energy to him. I'm sorry, he was like this. Like that. So, what else? They do the training, and with Shang Tsung, you have Melina, with the big teeth. What was one called? General Riku or Reiko, something like that. Then you have this guy named Kebab. I think, yeah. I like the design and look of Kebab. I liked his look. I did like that. I like the costume design of Kebab. Here I go again. Jesus Christ. My body is literally telling me to stop talking about this movie. A lot of times when I do bad movies, when I do it like that, it makes me want to. My body's telling me to stop talking about this stuff. And when I actually said Trevor Goddard's name, my body's telling me to stop talking about this movie. This is what it is. My body is literally telling me, whether it's that or slip of the tongue, is literally telling me to not stop talking about this movie and just watch Mortal Kombat instead. The 95 film instead. You see? My own body is telling me to rather watch the 95 film instead. And it was better directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. So they do the training. The Cole, he isn't with his powers. The first thing they mention about it's not with this birthmark thing because they're chosen. It's been given to chosen champions. And if one person dies, the thing disappears from the body and it gets their power gets transferred to the person who defeated them. And the thing is, they made this a story so simple about a tournament, and they make it so far complicated as it is. That's the thing. They make this Mortal Kombat. It's a tournament. It's a martial art tournament. You fight to the death. You die. You live or you die. Right? Simple as that. It's called Mortal Kombat. They mention the name, but they mention the name, but it's really about the freaking tournament. They made it so freaking complicated. It's so simple, but yet they turn it into something that's complicated. Why? Because they want to set it up for the sequel. Because this is before the tournament. This is why they want to make a sequel for it, and that's why Johnny Cage is not in it. They want to set up for the sequel. Because they say that Johnny Cage is problematic. That's why they want to leave him for the sequel. That's why they would get this new guy in for Cole in. Screw Cole. I don't care about this guy named Cole. Put Johnny Cage as a lead. Forget this guy Cole. Jesus, man. And if they do, when they do bring in Johnny Cage, if he's not got the same energy and charisma as Lyndon Ashby did, and I guarantee if they put Johnny Cage in this for the sequel, he's not got this the cool lines that Lyndon Ashby says. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. He's not gonna have a badass moment where he punches Prince Gore in the nuts. Or a fun fight when he fought with Scorpion. Or any other good lines of dialogue. So, what else? I'm trying to figure it out now. Where was I at? They do the training. Kano is getting bitched at by Kung Lao. He gets pissed and he gets his power of the laser eye beam. And they do more training, and then I don't care about this character Cole training. And then, Where was I at? This film was leaving my brain. I can barely remember. Then with they meet with Shang Tsung meets with the bad guys like Melina. You have this guy named General Reiko. Sub-Zero is there, and then of course with this guy named Kebab, which I think I mentioned. I can't remember. Yeah, see, this film's mainly my brain. I'm forgetting what I freaking said. Probably. I like the look of Kebab, but then Kano he comes by and coaxes Kano to join their side. He breaks down the barrier with his eye beam. And you get the best gory death scene of the movie. I'll give you that a positive right there. The best death scene in the movie, let alone gory, is when Kung Lao, he's fighting this winged lady. I don't know her name. I don't care. She's a bland looking villain anyway. But he uses his hat, saw blade, and splits it right in half. That's one positive I'll give to. It's the best gory death in the movie. Kung Lao's saw blade hat cuts that woman in half. Sadly, after that, he gets killed by Shang Tsung, gets his soul sucked out of him, and then they all fight the rest. Like Jax with his metal arms. You get another good gory death when he crushes that Reiko guy's head. Okay, that's another good gory death. But the woman lady saw blade, that was the best death though. Sonya fights Kano. Just stabs in the eye with a freaking lawn gnome. I'm like, really? A lawn gnome? Lawn gnome. I mean, it makes it. Whenever I think of lawn gnome, it makes me think of Goosebumps, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. I'd rather read the book, listen to the audio book, or watch the episode Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. If I wanted to do something reference about lawn gnomes, I'd rather watch that for Goosebumps, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. Yeah, but she takes the lawn gnome, stabs him in the eye. Really? A freaking lawn gnome. And then she gets the mark. And then she knows how to use her powers just like that within like 10 seconds. I mean, how long it took for Cole to learn his power, but she learns it in 10 seconds and she blows a hole right through Melina. And what's big with Prince Goro, bad CGI. Well, at least in the '95 film, it was a well done. He was a well done practical effect. He mixed with a bit of a suit, animatronics, for the arm puppetry, and I'd say a little bit of stop motion animation as well. Well done practical effect for Prince Goro. And he spoke. Here he's like, whatever. He fights Cole in a barn. The first time we see him, he fights him in a barn. Why? All the other better settings in the Mortal Kombat series, you pick a barn for Prince Goro to fight in. But then he finally gets his power because his family was in danger. He gets his powers armor plating all around him. I mean, up in the torso and arms. Gets some blades. Cuts Prince Goro's hand off. Cuts him here and then stabs him in the eye. That's it. And then they're all ready to fight Sub-Zero. Well, and like I said, this is where Scorpion finally comes in because Sub-Zero kidnaps his family, freezes them, and that's when Scorpion comes in. And like I said, all the advertising and the marketing they put in for Sub-Zero and Scorpion, even the poster, for them fighting as Sub-Zero and Scorpion, it appears at the end of the movie. Yeah, they fight at the beginning, before who they became what they were. But here is just like they just do it at the very end. And then Scorpion comes in like, what do you say? I came from hell to rise up again, something like that. And he's like, it was a lot. He spent a lot of time in hell, basically, and it just shows up now. He spent a lot of time there, but, okay, why all of a sudden you just show up now if you had a lot of time to spend, planning your revenge on Sub-Zero? why Lawson show up now? And I'm sorry, the fights in this movie were, like I said, they did not impress me. I'm sorry. Even the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Now, technically, on a technical front, maybe I say it's the best fight of the movie. I could say that, but it's not much for me though. And then Scorpion had to have Cole help him out a bit. I'm like, can Scorpion fight Sub-Zero on his own? Can he beat him on his own? Not having this twat guy here to help fight him. And then when Sub-Zero, when Scorpion he finally says a famous line, "Get over here," it's ruined. Why? Because it sounds like it's been muffled when he says that. It sounds like Scorpion in the 95 film. I can hear clear as day. Get over here. When Hiroyuki Sanada says it, it's like, "Get over here," like this. "Get over here." That's what to me it sounded like. It was clearly plain and simple. I heard clearly in the 95 film. It was a simple scream. "Get over here!" Here's "Get over here." That's what it sounded like. If you think differently about that, that's fine. To me, it sounded like he muffled it and butchered it. And their costumes. It was like a very toned down of the costumes because we all know that Scorpion is blue and Sub-Zero is blue and Scorpion is yellow. Their colors were so toned down or darkened. I couldn't even tell if they were blue or yellow. Maybe this is me. Maybe it was my eyes playing tricks on me. They could at least brighten up their costumes a bit. So I couldn't tell if they were yellow or blue. And the fight was unimpressive. Like I said, and Cole had to come in and help Sub-Zero. Great. Scorpion. And eventually Sub-Zero, he gets burned. Oh, I forgot to mention Kebab. He fights Liu Kang. He fights in this thing, slips into this liquid, and Liu Kang summons this fire dragon, and he burns him. And then he says, "Fatality for Kung Lao." Kebab didn't kill Kung Lao. It was Shang Tsung. So why would he say it to him? But I'm saying because he gets burned and Sub-Zero gets burned. You could have a better creative way to kill Sub-Zero. Have him tear an arm off or decapitate him at most or rip something off out of him. I don't know. All the creativity deaths that you see in the Mortal Kombat games. If you're a diehard fan for Scorpion or Sub-Zero, can you tell me if that was a good fight? Or Sub-Zero's apparent death being burned, was that good? I mean, there's so much creative deaths in all these Mortal Kombat games. You can at least do something about it. Instead of just being burned, having another person be burned like Kebab did. And then Shang Tsung comes in, Raiden comes in, stops him. And then Sub-Zero and Prince Gore, they all get pulled away, which is hinting the sequel they may come back again, so kind of makes Scorpion's revenge kind of pointless. Remember this face, like what he said. And they want to recruit more champions. And that's when Cole tells his manager or whatever, saying he's going to Hollywood. We know who. And there's a poster for Johnny Cage. And then during the credits, you hear a shitty rendition of the theme for this movie. Hey, hey, oh, I know, it was a good thing. You hear the Mortal Kombat shout out, "Mortal Kombat!" from here. Oh yeah, remember that? That was in the 95 film. Remember this? Get the nostalgic? Yeah, I know. I get it. And it fails because the reversion of the theme for Techno Syndrome was shitty. The music, the score in the movie was bland, boring, and shitty. Just like the rest of this movie was. To me, it was bland, boring, and shitty. None of the characters had personality or energy or charisma of our leads in this movie. I don't know what more I can say about this movie because, like I said, Yeah, our characters were bland, boring, and shitty. Especially Raiden. I hated the character Cole. Why would he a guy about this guy who was a twat? You know, why couldn't this be another lead guy? Why couldn't it be Kung Lao for the lead, or say even Liu Kang again, or put Johnny Cage instead? Oh, he was problematic. That's why he was saving the sequel. Who cares? If you have a problematic, then have someone else take over to do it. Then, okay? Yeah. Stop your bitching and complaining. Problematic. Rather have the character himself having this than follow this twat around. I hated this character, Cole. The fights were not that impressive. I'm sorry. Not even the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. All the marketing and promoting they did, and they particularly only appear as Scorpion and Sub-Zero until the end of the movie. In the trailers and everything. Some of the humor they attempted to fail flat on its face, like, oh, Mortal Kombat, oh, they spelled it wrong with a K. Or what else? Oh, the stupid with the birthmark thing. What is that? It's a mark. What is it? It's a birthmark. As if we didn't know what a birthmark was. Thanks for explaining what a birthmark is. It's kind of as dumb as me as Sub-Zero explained to himself. Oh, I'm not him. My name is Sub-Zero now. As if we don't know as if we do not know who you are. And some bad CGI as well, like I said. Yeah, so the 95 film had bad CGI, but I can give lenience because I had fun with the movie. And I love the characters. Prince Goro, complete opposite from the 95 film. Well done practical effect compared to this bad CGI shit. But anyway, if anyone likes this movie, that's fine by me. My brother, he likes the Mortal Kombat film. He thinks it's good. My brother thinks it's good. I don't. I disagree. And what's so great about the fights? And, what was so great about the fights? Kano dies from a freaking lawn gnome. The best gory death was from Kung Lao, who killed the winged girl, sawing her in half from his hat. And sadly, he dies because his soul sucked out of him. No good lines of dialogue. Nothing compared to the fun dialogue in this movie. The guy who plays Raiden, he's bland and boring. Nothing compared to the energy and charisma and funness of Christopher Lambert. Nowhere near. And they want to make a sequel to this because they want to make this another. You know what? If I hear the name Cinematic Universe one more time, I'm gonna flip my lid because after what Marvel did, it's not their fault, but they all the studios they want to make this into all the studios they want to make a cinematic universe now. You got the Godzilla universe, the Monster universe, then you got the DC universe. They attempted the Dark universe with the Universal monsters, and especially when they started with the Mummy, and it failed flat on its face, so they canceled that universe. Thank God. Not everything has to be a universe now. Not everything. I'm tired of that. Marvel is the only cinematic universe they'll go for. That is it. Stop making everything a cinematic universe now. They try to make a franchise with what was the movie called? Mortal Engines. That bombed huge time. You can tell they want to make a franchise out of that. But that was a huge flop. And future plans were canceled. Same thing with the R.I.P.D. You could tell they wanted a franchise out of that, but that was a huge flop as well. Not everything has to be a franchise now. Especially with After Annihilation, they probably canceled a sequel to that since the poor reception that the film got. And again, I'd rather watch Annihilation over this. Because, like I said, it has a good soundtrack, but I can... If I did watch it again, I would laugh my ass off because it's that bad. But at the same time, I don't want to watch it because it's such cringe-inducing to watch. It's such a chore to sit through. And let alone be a real pain to sit through. So, I'm not gonna say I hate this movie. This is already on my worst list of this year. Now, what I say, is it worse than Godzilla vs. Kong? I don't know. I have to think about it, though. And you know what's sad? How sad is this? When one of my favorite films this year, an action film, had better fight scenes than this movie, and that's sad. And that is of Nobody. You know, Nobody, from the makers of John Wick, with Stephen Odenkirk, from Better Call Saul. Sad is that the action had much better action than the action in this movie. Especially with Steve Odenkirk from Nobody, the fight he had in the bus, that was the brutality in that bus, the bus scene he had, the fight he had in the bus. Sadly, that fight alone was better than any fight I got in this movie, in this Mortal Kombat film, and that's sad. How he's just completely bludgeoned with someone with his fist, with a piece of the rail, and when the line where he says when he gets all the bullets out, I'm gonna fuck you up. Steve Odenkirk, for a very serious role, out of his element kind of role, he did a great job. The fights in Nobody, sadly, is better than any fight in this movie. Yeah, a lot of it is gunplay, especially the finale. But you get some cool deaths in there, especially with the main villain in Nobody. I say, but the creativity and deaths, the end, how the main villain in Nobody, how he died, that was a creative death than any death in this movie. That's sad. That's not even a Mortal Kombat movie. Sad to say that a film like Nobody, action in that, especially the bus scene, sadly is a better physical fight, for physical fight, and it's not just gunplay, but physical fight. Sadly, it's the best action fight than any fight in this movie. I'm sorry. Nobody is twice as better than this new Mortal Kombat film. Or even hell, even Willy's Wonderland, Nicolas Cage, he kicked ass in Willy's Wonderland. He beat the shit out of all those animatronics, Take Nicolas Cage's character from Willy's Wonderland, right? How that character is in that movie. Put him in this. I guarantee the Nicolas Cage character in Willy's Wonderland would beat the crap out of anybody in this movie. Because he's a guy who's has no lines of has no dialogue at all. Guy is not intimidated or bothered by these animatronics at all. He kicks the shit out of them. I would bet that character, the janitor in Willy's Wonderland, would beat the crap out of anybody in this movie. Or let alone Stephen Odenkirk's character in Nobody either. That's just me though. I'm just going up because I like those movies. Those characters were badasses. More badass than anybody in this movie. I'm sorry. Sadly, the character in Nobody and Willy's Wonderland better than anybody in this movie. Now you can agree or disagree with that though, but that's just me though, because those two are my favorite films of this year, and better acted action than this movie, sadly. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Bland, boring characters. A Glee guy I never gave a rat's ass about. I hate this character, Cole. I don't want to see any more of him. Some bad CGI. No good lines of dialogue. No good humor. Yeah, you got some good gore. Okay. But I've seen tons and tons and tons of movies that has better gore than this. You can't just rely on gore alone. And so I would rather stick to this the '95 film. It's a classic. I'd rather watch Scorpion's Revenge. And if I had to pick, yes, sadly rather watch this than this new movie. But this will be on the next. But since I got this horrible movie out of the way, the next review will be reviewing a good note. This classic right here. So stay tuned for the review of this classic. How much I love that movie. Better characters, better humor, dialogue, everything, fights. unlike this. I already said my piece on this now. Thanks for watching. It's into my review for the classic '95 film, much better version. And yeah, and once again, like I said, a simple story. That film is about a tournament. You know, it ain't make anything much more complicated than that. See what I mean? But I don't know. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my review of the '95 film later.